about the NWO people who think that the Venus Project is affiliated with the NWO. Like, it doesn't even exist, but he thinks that you were mentioned before, you don't know the Rothschilds, you don't know any of these, you know. Yeah.
Is there really
There's a lot more. They're like always writing on the wall. They're always like writing on the wall. Yeah.
These they're. Say this on tape. I'll say no matter what philosophy you come up with, people will hate you. Or
Right.
whatever religion you believe in, whatever you don't believe in, people will hate you. There's a group of people who will hate anything you stand for, no matter what it is. But if you contradict this society, they will not only hate you, but try to get rid of you, accuse you of things that you're not. And that's the best way to do it. You put a big article in the paper saying, Fresco molests chickens. He had twice a success relation with chickens. So he picked something ridiculous. He said, did you know that guy? I always, you know, a senator told me that if I move people too fast, change them too fast, the government might pick you up. I said, how do they do that? All we do is put drugs in your car, and we pick you up. And the people that knew you a little bit, they say, there was always something strange about Fresco. It's so easy to do. And I said, would you do that to the Senate? He says, no, I wouldn't do that, but you got to keep that in mind. If people don't like you or fear a threat of you, they'll do whatever they have to do. Say he molests flies, whatever it is. You know, to get you, or he's trisexual. That means try anything. Whatever they say. But I can't fight that. I have no control of the media. It's up to you guys. If guys say he's now following Satan, you know, whatever they say, you have to discredit that. I hope you guys got something out of this meeting tonight.
Let me just ask, why haven't you ever been a college professor? Or is there a reason why?
He has no credentials.
No credentials. None.
Whatsoever.
I mean, he seems so now. Okay.
He left school when he was about 14,
Oh.
13.
13, I left
That's
school.
why he knows so much.
My grandfather told me that people came from all over the world and gave us language and gave us that concept of God. And he said, never pledge allegiance to any one country because they're all selfish. If you want to pledge allegiance to the earth and everyone on it. But my grandfather in other areas was primitive. In that area, I liked what he said. So when the teacher said, raise your right hand and pledge allegiance, I refused. That's when it started. He grabbed me by the ear, right to the principal's office. The principal said to the teacher, excuse, he put his arm around me and said, why don't you want to pledge allegiance? Everybody does. I said, everybody wants to believe the earth was flat. That doesn't make it flat. He said, what do you think of our history? I said, can I be frank with you? He said, yeah, bullshit. Because all the people in history books always do the right thing. They never make a mistake. They're always blessing everybody and taking care of everybody. They're not like that in history books. Real history is not like that. So I said, I don't buy it. And I don't like the teachers giving grades to kids for not being able to do certain things. Give them a method of solving that problem. Teach them how to draw. Teach them what they don't know. They don't know how to do that. So instead of knowing how to do that, they give you an F for failure. And that spoils kids. In school, kids says, I got an A. See? And when I went to a model airplane meeting with one of my crazy airplanes that flew differently, the wings rotated. They said, what the hell's that supposed to be? Not, does it fly? That's interesting. What you're doing is interesting. If I did it the first time, it didn't fly at all. It was the ninth time that it flew. So you have to stop being affected by what other people say. If you want approval from other people, join the community. Do you understand what that means? You do not seek approval. You seek knowledge and understanding, not approval. Because otherwise you'd be accountable. That's where you end up at winning approval. So that's what politicians do. They say things to win approval. That's why they have no effect on me at all. And some scientists say that I hope someday when I make a final robot, they respect me. Sure. If you made a robot that smart, the guy would not associate with that scientist. You know what I mean? When your kids grow up and say, Dad, you're obsolete, and you made it. You understand? When your kids surpass you by far, you won't ball them out. You say, I'd like to learn more about it. Guys my age are dead. They died at 21. They keep looking back to the old days, the good old days. There were no good old days. They just were ignorant people. And I don't associate with most people my age because they're obsolete. They don't even know what the hell's new. They sit on a rocking chair and rock and talk about bullshit. Words. They can't remember the conversation the next day. That's right. Okay, so if you guys have no more questions?
Jacque, I have a question for you. Has anyone in your world tours or anywhere you've gone approached you about any of your ideas on, like if they have $1 bazillion or whatever, then they
We're
can...
getting a lot of letters now of people that want to commercialize on it, but that's not.
Oh, no.
No, we have not gotten any large donations, no real large donations to even
We have a lot
help
of
us
pending
exist.
petitions.
I certainly wish they would. You're amazing.
Only by him. He's
If I'm given
so large donation.
1 hour at the UN, the United Nations, I can in 1 hour turn it around. It takes longer than that. It may take an hour and a half, I might. I don't think I
People
can
with
do
money are
it.
not interested because they think this world is a good place.
This is true. This is true.
People with money, yeah.
But I'm
We
thinking
are-
immediately look at
Not
the
everybody.
ideas and just think the same way I do. You know, this is amazing. It's great.
We are getting more possibilities of maybe some things happening, maybe some donations. I mean, there's always that possibility. In the past, they haven't come through, but we're always working on things.
I had a millionaire come over here, and he said, if you're so smart, how come you're not rich? I said, you're rich, how come you're not smart? So we need a guy to make a film on it.
Touche.
The guy makes all the social stuff. Real lousy film. That was it.
Don't put that in.
Visualize didn't go into the social stuff at all, just over the surface. Because he said he wanted to be successful. It wasn't successful. When you really spell it out, you can change people. Okay, guys. When you get the tapes and videos, show them to other people. If you have any questions you can't answer, contact us on the internet, will you?
Okay.
If you run into any questions that you can't answer.
Jacque, you mind that bit that you said about Gazeki going up on the internet?
What's that?
Do you mind that bit of what you said about Gazeki going up on the internet?
No. When he made the film, he made a documentary on, supposed to be my life. He left out all the social stuff.
You did.
He also was, he didn't take any criticism or wouldn't talk about anything he disagreed with, he just shot film. So, I don't know what the Zeitgeist movement will do, but you guys have to keep it on track. Make sure it doesn't go off, because a lot of people took my pictures and raising money in terms of the Venus and putting up new cities that are their own, have nothing to do with the Venus Project. You must understand that will occur.
Sure.
A guy in New York took my pictures and tried to raise money to build a stadium in New York. And Fresco was the architect. I had nothing to do with that. I cut him out, you know. But people will do strange things. So whenever you see pictures, if they use our pictures for their own personal gain, let us know about it. Okay? That happens with everything. With a ballpoint pen, one company copied it, began to manufacture it, and the guy started to sue them. And the next 3 days, 20 companies made the ballpoint pen. After that, 40 companies. He couldn't do it. You understand? He couldn't fight them all. So I can't fight anybody. I'm the most Roxanne and I have the least amount of power of anybody you know. I have no power at all. It's
Yeah,
you
I don't know
guys.
if you mentioned this, but a lot of people now write, well, you forget one thing, you don't know, you don't have a transition, you don't have the steps in the transition. Did you go over this? I don't know, because I've been in and out. But, you know, we don't have any power, we don't have any money. If we had access to the media and we had funds, then we'd lay out a transition, but we don't. So we can't tell people what the transition will be like. It'll probably be really terrible and bloody. There's many different ideas that are out there. That's how, it isn't scientifically backed. That's how much delay we'll get to a sane future.
The more people you talk to, the sooner we'll see it. If you talk to no one, nothing will happen.
It's up to you guys to do for the
And also-
transition. Depends on how much you talk to people.
And that's exactly why we're here, because, you know, at least me and my friends that came with me, we're
Where did you come from again?
from Brazil.
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 We've been,
That's a favorite spot of Jacques.
Is
He'd like
Oscar
to do
Niemeyer
something
still
there.
alive?
what?
Oscar Niemeyer?
Yeah, he's
living in
102, and he lives in our city, Brasilia.
Actually, the city.
Yeah,
that
we're
he
from
lives in.
Brasilia, the city that he drew, that he designed. Yeah.
Awesome.
And that's exactly why we're here, because we've been trying to live out of the status quo for quite a bit, and it's
He was
really
a
hard.
socialist, wasn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And it's really hard, you know, like right now I say that I basically live two lives, you know.
Sure.
I live the life where I belong to what people expect me to be, and you know, because I need those people for some stuff, so I still need to relate with those people.
Of course.
But it's really hard, you know? Like it's hard on your mind to get away from all of that.
Very different.
And I feel kind of isolated sometimes, and you know, that's why I came here, because I wanted to associate with people that has the same understanding of the big picture as I do, and I only do because
Are
of
you
you guys.
satisfied with what you got here? Are you satisfied with what you got?
Yeah, I just wish that we could discuss more about what can we do, because you know, we've been
You
trying
talk to
to.
people first.
Yeah.
You gotta get people on your side, lots of people.
Yeah,
That's the
That's-
most
that's the
important
most
thing
difficult.
right now, is if enough people don't know about this and things start to collapse, like if there were thousands of people that knew about this direction and supported it in Egypt, it might have had a different outcome. But they don't, they're protesting, but they don't know what to do or where to go. They just want somebody more humane to them. They just want a little piece of the pie, you know?
I know.
So if we have enough people who know about this direction, and that's a very important thing, to talk to people, hold seminars, do a zeitgeist movement down there, and read the book to them little bit by little and start educating them.
You
And,
see, that book answers a lot of questions. It's about,
This one?
have
Yeah.
you read it yet?
You
No,
really have to
not
teach
yet.
Yeah,
people,
that's the book.
so you're not alone.
Read
You
the.
have to-
It's
you
a
have
it's
to
a
bring
great
them up to
easy
what you
read.
know.
It's you can read it in a day.
The biggest problem right now, at least for me, is like everybody that I talk to, not everybody, but a lot of people that I talk to, I don't think that they understand the whole idea of free thinking. They think like I do because of the way that I'm explaining to them and because I'm showing to them something that is clearly not working. But it's not like they truly understand. They're just following something that is out of what they are living right now.
When Edison invented the electric light, he had to explain what it is. The gas companies didn't know what it was. He had to explain to everybody. And that goes for every invention. When the Army ordered an airplane from the Wright brothers, and they had to explain what airplanes do, how to control them. You've got a new system here. You have to educate people as to what the system is. It's not communism or socialism. They're going to equate it with communism. Here's what you say. Communism has armies, navies, police, prisons, social stratification, banks, money. We don't have any of those things. We have nothing in common with any system except the betterment of humanity.
Just one question that I found helpful that really gets people to think is when they turn down the Venus Project, they're like, it'll never happen. I'll just say, do you think that we're going to have money forever? 10,000 years, 100,000, a million, whatever. Whatever your thinking power is. And every single person I've asked, they're just like, I don't know. Maybe, and then it at least gets them thinking. And then I'm like,
At least
all right,
that-
dude. Well, have you heard of nanotechnology? Have you heard of how this world is going to start changing? It's not going to make much sense pretty soon.
Automobiles, they'll look the same 50 years from now. Oh, I doubt it. What will they be like? I don't know, but I know they won't look like they do today.
The most simple and like there's a way that
You have to go
tear
back.
this argument down.
You
Is
have to go back to earlier times and talk to them with things that they identified with. What did you not imagine in the future? I never thought I'd see man on the moon in my lifetime. Get that from them. Then say, then what you thought was not correct, your ability to predict the future.
yeah.
I use this thing a lot. This thing's crazy. 10 years ago, like this is an iPhone 4. It's ridiculous. Like things are going to start happening real in the next.
That's going to get smaller and finally
Yeah.
have a
Look
little
at
ring.
Egypt. Everybody's
That
got the
tells
internet
everything
right on
going
their
on.
phone. They're all
The best argument is that one that they show in the movie of the Project Earth. You know, like if we find a planet just like Earth, but
It
where
comes
That's
from
a-
Jacque's book,
yeah,
Yeah.
the beginning of Jacque's book.
that's just like how can you say something against this argument? Like
Read the book and get more people to start reading it.
You'll see where that film comes from. Yeah.
And I would suggest you read it several times,
we'll do for sure.
because you're undoing a lot of shit that's been accumulated in the system. You don't even know how unradical you are if you think you're radical. You read the book several times, and it'll give you more armament to do.
What do you tell the people that argues saying that it kind of looks like you guys are building a guild, you know, doing the same thing that the system does, you know, like having an influence on how people should think. Like, what do you tell to those people?
What they're asking you, who makes the decisions and how are decisions arrived at? Well, in medicine, they give people certain pills, and they keep a record of those that don't take those pills. And they say less people get a stroke and heart attack if they take this pill. So you have to do a survey as best you can. Like, no bridge engineer designs a bridge. The government says we need a bridge across the Hudson River. And they say, what are the appropriations for it? $20 million. So they work on the design of a $20 million bridge. Then the railway says, we'd like to have public transportation on that bridge. Then we have to reinforce it differently. See, each thing, like if you have an ocean liner, you have 5,000 passengers on it, the cooks would have to order a certain amount of food. How do they decide that? How many passengers do you have? How much water do we need for showers and baths with 2,000 passengers? They always have to do a survey. All I'm doing is surveying everything.
Another thing is that everybody is always conditioned in this culture. You can't grow up without being conditioned, but we're not conditioned people so others can take advantage of them. We're conditioning them to understand how the earth works, how you relate to one another, the needs of people, and take into consideration everyone's
And
needs
living in a sustainable way.
to eliminate stress and hunger and poverty and aberrant behavior. So we're trying to eliminate the problems that
The cause
cause
of the
people, that cause people anger and stress and suffering. So I don't know why, there's nothing in the Venus Project that's hurtful to anyone, so I don't know why they would, they just have trigger words
Yeah.
to maintain this system. Jacque calls them the unappointed guardians of the system. They don't even know what they're fighting against, but they have these words like communism, utopianism, just to maintain what they have.
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Damn, I can't believe that.
They've made the word conspiracy like crazy.
Yeah, it's
Like if you even
nuts.
mention it, you're a kook.
Well, people in my age group, it's real difficult to get them to realize what's going on. It's just real difficult. Because of the way they've been brought up and what they're used to for so long.
Relativity is a good thing to understand.
And that's hard, it's hard to change that though.
I don't understand how a crocodile get a hard-on over another crocodile. They
Like
have
Jacque
no
said-
shape, they're awful looking. He's projecting his own values there. Do you understand? And that's what normal people do. if people came from Mars and they had 3 eyes, one in the forehead, and a pointed head, we say, would you want to marry one? You know, because you're using your standards on those people.
Yeah.
To those people, their own kind look good to them. But you have to teach people there's no such thing as beauty. That's all invented by man. And all the laws of conduct, right, wrong, good, bad, and all the laws made by politicians are bullshit. The only laws that count are natural law. If you don't get enough sleep, nutritious food, you get sick. So we have to use scientific scales of performance in arriving at our behavior, not what do you think, what do you think. That was good a couple of 100 years ago. But today we still have the old values because we have the old language. All of us speak a very old language.
You have to remember too that what you're telling them is everything that they've learned is irrelevant, that they're suckers. And then you have to replace it with something, common heritage, and give them an alternative.
You're hurting their identity when you do that.
Take religion
Don't try
away
that.
from
They
people,
think you're crazy.
taking away their identity, their self-identity. You have to give them something greater, that man can build paradise on earth compared to what exists. That man seems to be, that science seemed to solve every problem they were ever given. Put a man on the moon, they did that. Make an atom bomb, there was no atom, they did that. We never gave them any real problems. How do you make a world that's peaceful? We never turned that over to science. The politicians kept that for themselves.
We've always used science just for commercial purposes, just for industry's benefit. So they're prostitutes, they're not real scientists.
Yes, they don't know that. They think they're scientists. Any scientist that would not teach blunt stuff like Thorstein Veblen, have you read him? Thorstein Veblen used to teach people things at the university and would threaten the culture, and they kicked him out. So they built a special school for him in New York called the New School for Social Research, just for Veblen, so he could teach there. What he taught was that royalty with a sloping chin, that have designed garments that stuck up like that to cover the sloping chin. And he taught that wealthy people hired big people to stand in the hallway, do nothing. The more people you had doing nothing, the more respect you commanded. So he put them in silk suits. And they used to wipe their nose on their sleeve. And so he had men put buttons here. So they turned. So they put the buttons all around. And that's why man still has 2 buttons on the outside of a jacket that do nothing. And he began to tell people where high heels came from. A short king wanted to stand above everybody else in the court. So he designed shoes with very high heels and forbid anybody else to use them. But he wrote books like that, called The Theory of the Leisure Class by Thorstein Veblen. He wrote another book called Engineers and the Price System, the Money System. He was kicked out of school for that. But anyway, don't forget, if I'm invited to speak somewhere, only if you guys call CBS, NBC, say, how about having a representative of the Venus Project on? They say, what's that? Look it up. And you have to tell them over 2 million people in the world now know about it. If you don't say that, they won't pay attention to you. So you have to call universities and get them to present the Venus Project or call the Venus Project without editing out anything. So when a magazine says we want to do an article on, Fox News came out here? Did you
I
know
seen
that?
it.
Yeah,
And they pushed the Venus Project. They did a good article on it. So apparently we can reach people if we get them out here.
Can I say I was a corporate communications major at University of Kentucky, and I've taken courses like linguistics, semantics. I've also taken mass media, politics and mass media. And the politics and mass media was a really interesting class, and it stirred a lot of my interest. But the one thing that was definitely communicated to me beyond a reasonable doubt, which is bad, kind of, but could work for this, is that these people really just want to make money. And if you can try and pitch it to them where they feel like advertisers will come in, if it gets big enough, it will be their own demise, and the Venus Project will take over. but it truly is. They just care about money. I mean, if you can contact these media people, yeah, I was just telling more of that to everybody else. They really just care about money. It's not like a huge
supports these radical guys.
right.
Will it work? And if we don't raise money to build the first city, it'll never be built. We live in a monetary system. So if I go to Brazil, I'm going to talk to them about building the first city, but the city should be an example for bringing together other nations, not use, well, they can say Brazil built the first city to show that it can be done. And Brazil doesn't have the answers. I'd love to get there, and I'd love to lecture there. So see if you can set it up when you get back.
I'm sure we can.
They'd have to cover airfare
Yeah, for
and
both of us.
everything else.
Airfare, hotel.
Yeah, food,
Food.
and a price for speaking like everybody gets, you know.
We
It's
might
hard.
need some time to get people
I understand.
to watch, you know, to get.
There are certain people you can get to, and you can try the scientific or engineering community. But
The
since they're making money in the system, those that have been discharged will listen to you.
yeah the
It takes economic stress to get people.
yeah I was talking to Roxanne about it actually. The thing with Brazil and kind of like the Latin American countries is people there already kind of inclinated to socialism. So they already understand that the system doesn't work. You know, a lot of people do. They just need to have another direction other than socialism. So it's kind of like a more I'll say aware, but you know,
I can tell you that a Latin American country got in touch with us, and we're trying to see the president there, and we had some up and back with some of the officials, higher ups, you know, who had some objections to, and they came back with all the Marxist, socialist stuff, real strong old time, and I thought, oh my God, they're worse than the right-wing capitalists. And Jacque came back really heavy, and they loved it. They loved his answers, and they're pushing to get him down there to speak with the president. So it's not,
What
it's not
country?
hopeless.
You can name the country.
Well, I don't really want that going all around before.
I can turn off the
down
camera
there.
if you'd like, and
Yeah, well,